Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Welcome to research methodology class. This is a first lesson. To start our class, let's talk about what research is. There are many definitions of research, but in general, research is a diligent study, studious inquiry is a scientific investigation or experimentation with the objective of finding new findings and new facts and new knowledge. So broadly, research is related to any subject of inquiry with regard to the collection of data and information, interpretation of facts, and revision of existing knowledge, existing theories, existing principles or laws in light of new empirical evidence or new facts. Relatively simple research is merely aimed at acquiring the most basic type of information. But it is still research in a sense because it requires an individual to first identify and then understand the problem. Then find out where to go for information and whom to ask, and also know what questions to ask. So the failure to go through any of these processes or steps will make the research a problem. So any research, whether a simple research or a complicated research, will have to go through these steps or processes that we call scientific approach. There are three types of research. The first one is descriptive research. The second one is explanatory research. And the third one is predictive research. Descriptive research is aimed simply at describing a certain phenomena. Just describe the phenomena without concerned about why that phenomena occurs. So the aim is just to explain, or sorry, to describe. To describe means to tell about a certain phenomena or a certain event without having to explain the reasons behind the occurrence of the events or the phenomena. So this is a very basic type of research, and this descriptive research is very useful for setting out baselines, or we call templates of how we think about what's happening in this world. is often the starting point of research project into phenomena, which we call exploratory study or exploratory research. This type of research can describe, for example, social systems and relationships between events, and provide the background information as well as the explanations. The second type of research is explanatory research, which is deeper than the descriptive research. Explanatory research not only describes the phenomena, but also uh, attempts to explain why the phenomena occurs, why the behavior is the way it is. In other words, it enables us to understand the very nature of what we are trying to study. So there is a causality or causal relationship. There is a cause and effect. So this explanatory research aims at explaining social events or social relations and trying to understand about the structure, process, nature of events, and linking the events to the determinants or the factors which influence the occurrence of a certain event. So in the explanatory research, there is a causal relationship where there are causes that we are trying to study which influence the certain event or phenomena. And we call the phenomena as our dependent variable, and the causes or determinants we call independent variables. The third type of research is predictive research. Predictive research goes one step further than the explanatory research. And the predictive research not only try to explain why a certain event occur or what causes a certain behavior, but also the predictive research attempts to predict the future behavior or future events based on the findings of the research. So based on the causal relationships, the productive research tries to predict what will happen in the future about the certain phenomena or the certain behavior based on the independent or explanatory variables that was revealed in the explanatory research. So the predictive research is very useful for certain institutions and also to policymakers in order to formulate suitable policy. Why is research conducted? Well, there are many reasons. why people do research. Among the reasons is research enables us to gain a competitive advantage because we have a certain information that the rest do not have. And research is also conducted to test new products and services, and also to solve certain managerial or organizational problems, and also to provide information which may help to avoid future business problems, to forecast future sales, to better understand shifts in consumer attitudes and taste and preference, for example. And there are certain organizations who conduct research in order to increase or enhance profitability and to reduce operational costs, and also to enable management to prioritize certain strategic options for the future. So there are many reasons why people do research. And as students, you do research because it is a full or partial requirement to obtain your degree. So for example, for students who are pursuing the degree of the Doctor of Philosophy in Management or the Doctor of Philosophy in Islamic Banking and Finance, such as you guys. So the reason you do research is because it is part of the requirement. This class, the advanced research method, is a prerequisite. And then after this class, you have to do research because the program of the Doctor of Philosophy in Management is by research. So hopefully this class will be able to help assist and guide you in writing your thesis and dissertation. Who does the research? Well, there are certain organizations that do research, government agencies, manufacturing or service companies, research companies, consultancy companies, academics, the lecturers like us. It's part of the job to do the research, and part of the performance, the key performance index for lecturers. Advertising agencies, market research companies, and of course you students, you have to do research. How is research conducted? So let's talk about our area, business and social science area. So for business and social research method, we are trying to do research which relates to the problems of the real world. Um, and for business students like us, we ask the question, are business research methods different from other research methods? So business research deals with business phenomena. There are plenty of business phenomena or events that we could study, such as supply, demand, sales, um, market behavior, marketing strategies, etc. So researchers can apply the methods or the tools according to the nature of the research. On the other hand, social science deal with people who live in society, their culture and daily life. So social scientists follow a particular research strategy and apply the appropriate tools in order to fulfill the objectives of their research. So the methods may not be much different. Only the major differences are the research questions and research objectives. And then based on the research method, business research and social science research will go and acquire data and information, analyze them, and then trying to find a certain empirical evidence in order to answer the research problems and the research objectives that have been set at the early stage of the research. So let's talk about the research methodology. There are two terms that we need to understand: a research method and research methodology. Our research method and research methodology means the same thing? Actually, there is a difference, although some people use the word research method and research methodology interchangeably. But actually, there is a subtle difference between them. A research method is a way of conducting and implementing research. Method means a way. So research method is a way to conduct and to implement the research. Research methodology, on the other hand, is a science and philosophy behind all research. So research methodology covers how we know what we know. And research methodology allows us to understand the very strict constraints placed upon our concept of what what knowledge actually is. So research methodology is more general and research method is specific. So research method is actually a part of research methodology. Approaches to business and social research. There are, if we look at from perspective of data, there are two types of research. One is called quantitative research, and the other is called qualitative research. What is a quantitative research? Quantitative research refers to the type of research that is based on methodological principles of positivism and neo-positivism, and it adheres to the standards of strict research design developed prior to the actual research. It is applied for quantitative measurement. So in any quantitative research, there is a quantitative measurement, and hence usually some statistical analysis is used, or sometimes mathematical analysis is employed. Quantitative research is used in almost every sphere of life, such as clinical, biological, epidemiological, sociological, and business research. So in this world, there are researchers who fall into the category of quantitative researchers. Although now there is another term that we use is mixed research. And the opposite of quantitative research is qualitative research. Qualitative research uses a number of methodological approaches based on diverse theoretical principles, such as phenomenology, hermeneutics, and social interactionism. Qualitative research employs methods of data collection and analysis that are non-quantitative, aims towards the exploration of social relations, and it describes reality as experienced by respondents. So there is no numbers, no quantitative measurement involved in the qualitative research. Qualitative research methods actually have been long used in the field of social sciences. For instance, there are principal methods employed by anthropologists to study the customs and behaviors of people from other cultures. And qualitative research are also used in such diverse areas such as sociology, psychology, education, history, cultural studies, religious studies, etc. These methods have much to offer in studying the health and well-being of people and their daily lives. Now, let's discuss the other category of research. We can also look at research from the theoretical aspect as well as the applied aspect. So there are two types of research. One we call pure research, and the other one we call applied research. Pure research is used to develop new knowledge that advances our understanding of the real world. So in pure research, we attempt to expand our boundary and our limits of knowledge. By doing our research, we are able to widen and expand what we already know. In other words, we'll be able to go to places where no one has gone before. We are able to find new evidence, new findings, new facts, which will be able to expand our boundary of knowledge. So pure research evaluates the concepts and theories, and thus it attempts to expand the limits or the boundaries of existing knowledge. It may also help in rejecting or supporting the existing theories about the world. In every sector of higher education, there are some basic theories. A researcher's contribution in extending, widening, expanding, or improving any of the theories that exist may be considered pure research, also known as theoretical research. Such research is very expensive and it's usually carried out in government-funded projects by university research facilities or specific government departments. There is no obvious commercial value to the discoveries that result from pure research. On the other hand, applied research is conducted when a decision must be made about a specific real-life problem. The principle or the main aim of researchers when they conduct applied research is to improve human conditions, although the results can have commercial value. It is directly related to social and policy issues. For example, investigation to improve agricultural crop production, or a study on the development and commercialization of technology with the aim to reduce carbon dioxide emissions, or the research on how to solve the problems of decreasing demand for certain products and how to improve the production and the marketing strategies in order to increase the sales of the products. So types of applied research also include action research, also known as evaluative research, and policy research. Action research is one type of applied research. It is the application of fact finding to practical problem solving in a social situation with a view to improving the quality of action within it, involving the collaboration and cooperation of researchers, practitioners, and laymen, according to Burns 1990. So action research is actively involved in planning and introducing changes in policy, and researchers use their research expertise to monitor and possibly to evaluate its effects. That's why sometimes it is called evaluative research. Policy research is concerned with the knowledge of action. Its long-term aim is in line with the famous dictum. It is more important to change the world than to understand it. This broad objective means that policy research encompasses a far more diverse variety of research, including theoretical research in many cases, but also descriptive research, which maps out the landscape of the topic, issue, or problem. Now let's discuss um, the difference between theory and empirical study. Sound evidence or empirical is superior to argument based on false evidence, limited evidence, or no evidence. So evidence is superior to arguments without evidence. Evidence has to be collected from the social world around us. And the collection of evidence requires that empirical research must be done. Empirical simply means based on evidence from the real world. This is in contrast to theoretical. Theoretical refers to ideas that are abstract or purely analytical without having to rely on the empirical evidence. Theories must be tested against the real world. Theory, in fact, is the building which is made from the hard-won bricks of the research studies. How can we collect evidence about the social world that can be used to increase our understanding of that world? So the purpose of science concerns with the expansion of the boundary of knowledge and about the discovery of fact or truth. Theory building is the means by which pure researchers expect to achieve the goal. It represents the real world, and the events are supposed to be the reality. On the other hand, by empirical study is meant the level of knowledge reflecting that which is verifiable by experience or observation. A theory is a set of systematically interrelated concepts, definitions, and propositions that are advanced to explain and to predict phenomena or facts. Explain means to describe the phenomena or the facts and analyze the causes of that phenomena. And predict means to go one step further to predict the future phenomena based on the findings of the causes and effects relationship. So a theory is a set of systematically interrelated concepts, definitions, and propositions that are advanced to explain and predict phenomena. So in the definition, the word proposition is linked with the term concept. Concepts are an abstraction of the real world to allow us to more easily understand by simplifying the true nature of objects and events. On the other hand, propositions are statements concerned with relationships among the concepts. A proposition explains a logical linkage, relationship that makes sense among the concepts by asserting connection or relationship between the concepts. So a hypothesis is a proposition. A hypothesis is a proposition that is empirically testable. And the empirical statement, so hypothesis is actually an empirical statement concerned with the relationship among variables. So in order to test a certain hypothesis, researchers need to develop the hypothesis in order to explain how he or she come up with the hypothesis. And the researcher needs to go out and collect the information, analyze the information to test whether the empirical evidence support or accept, whether the empirical evidence accept or reject the hypothesis. So, Alhamdulillah, we in the first lesson we finished talking about what is research, why is research conducted, who does research, how is research conducted, the comparison between business and social research, the comparison between research method and research methodology, approaches to business and social research, and justifying the scientific method used in research. In our next class, inshallah, we'll discuss the research cycle, and we will also discuss the problems with the research process. Thank you very much. Any questions you may ask in the, uh, in our in Instagram or WhatsApp group. Until next time, thank you. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.